Daily Detroit is brought to you by the community. Support our work at patreon.com/dailydetroit.
Hello and welcome to your Daily Detroit, sharing what to know and where to go in Southeast Michigan. It is Thursday, January 9th, 2025. I am Jer Stays, and joining me at our table at Tech Town is none other than the Prince of Brightmoor, Norris Howard. How are you?
What's going on, my friends? I am back once again, twice in 1 week. That lets you know it's a busy week.
It is, and we've already got reaction from yesterday's piece.
Oh, really now?
It's been hot and heavy. We're actually going to do we might even do a reaction episode to these ideas.
Okay, cool.
But I'm going to lay two on you right off the bat.
All right.
One, a couple people said, demolish Comerica Park. It's beyond its useful life. It's sad because it's only 25 years old. But we have a few votes. Demolish and rebuild Comerica Park. It's not good.
See, there you go. I've been vindicated. I told you the people have spoken, and they are on my side.
The second idea?
Yeah.
More than one, more than a few. Retractable roof on Ford Field.
Negative, no, never. No.
Really?
Negative, no,
I'm
never.
for it. I think it'd be great.
No.
I think it'd be great.
Nope. It's cold weather. Majority of the season is freezing cold. No. It is a dome for a reason. Have you ever gone inside at Lambeau? Have you ever gone inside at Soldier Field in December? Not fun. Keep it a dome.
But what about summer events? What about non-football things?
Don't care. Keep it a dome. You want to watch Taylor Swift in the open air? I don't.
I do.
I don't. Put it in the dome. Listen, man, I think, the internals of Ford Field are perfect. Let's keep it that way.
The other thing I wanted to mention, you are not here for this episode, our discussion about ranch.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Yeah, we had that with Cheyenne.
Mm-hmm.
No Serini. We talked about my weekend adventure.
It's very disappointing.
Well, I want to get into this because on social media, I put out a poll that got quite a bit of responses.
Okay.
Unscientific, unofficial feelings about ranch. I'm going to go through the results for you.
Okay.
Want your reaction?
Sure.
So 40% of voters dip everything in ranch.
Disgusting.
17% would dip their cheesy bread.
Also disgusting.
9% would dip their pizza.
Even worse.
And only 34% say no ranch for me. So 2 out of 3 listeners want the ranch.
Yeah, and listen, that last group of no ranch, those are my people right there. That's my tribe. I think ranch is the most gassed, overrated condiment on planet Earth.
Okay, why? Because, I like ranch. Stand on your business.
But there are people who make ranch their personality, and I don't like that. But
is this like making marijuana your personality?
Yeah, but it's like, okay, listen, ranch has its place, but at the same time, I will posit a question. If you douse everything in ranch, did you actually like that item? If you take your wings and you put ranch all over your wings, are those good wings? Or do you just like ranch? Is your love for ranch superseding your love for wings? I think it does. Right?
Do you love wings more than ranch?
I don't like wings. I think it's too much work for not enough meat. But if I am eating wings, I tend to want to just do light sauce or maybe even a dry rub. I'm definitely not dipping it in no ranch because I get wings that taste good alone. Okay? If you can't eat your wing right as it come out the oven, the way it was made by the chef, unless he made it with a ranch rub, okay? Then, nah, man, I ain't dousing my stuff in ranch. No, we are here to enjoy the food as it was prepared in the original thought process of the chef. Ranch just ruins everything.
Carrots and celery? Does it ruin carrots and celery? Or like, say,
no,
broccoli or cauliflower?
No, those things are fine because they don't really have taste on their own. So that's fine. If you want the ranch taste on something that doesn't have a taste, that's fine. But if you're just like doing double dairy and you're like dipping ranch on cheese bread and ranch on pizza, like I'm going to just say this right now, dog. Black folks can't do that often. All right. Unless we want to be double dober on the porcelain throne. Like we cannot be doing double and triple dairy like that. So, I'm just saying, I feel like this may have skewed a few ways, along certain demographics. But the ranch move, I don't understand it. Straight up. I'm just keep it real with y'all. I don't get the ranch thing.
I got a lot of hate for not liking runny ranch. A lot of people stand for runny ranch.
I don't like no ranch. No ranch whatsoever. Keep the ranches on the West Coast, okay? That's how I feel.
In Texas?
Keep the ranches in Texas.
Let's get to some news. The Biden administration has awarded the city nearly $347 million in federal funding to combat basement flooding and expand affordable housing options. The Department of Housing and Urban Development funds target repairs of aging alley sewers with plans to prevent basement backups in 10,000 Detroit homes over the next 2 years. The funding comes in response to severe storms in August of 2023 that overwhelmed the city's sewer system. Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan in press materials said that we have 1,800 miles of old alley sewer lines built 70 to 90 years ago for a city of 1.8 million residents. With 700,000 residents today, there is no way we'd be able to address a problem of this magnitude without significant federal support. Duggan wants to use a significant portion of the money to prioritize repairing and replacing these failing alley drains with the goal of addressing blockages at those 10,000 Detroit homes. The HUD funding also can be invested in the construction of new flood-resilient affordable housing, which the mayor also plans to do. The city has 120 days to develop an action plan for the money, with community input sessions planned. We can link to some of those details in the show notes and in our newsletter on dailydetroit.com. Officials say the money will also support construction of new flood-resilient affordable housing.
Yeah, this is great news. This is one of those things where it's like, hey, man, the federal government participating with local and state government to make something happen. This is magnificent. Listen, my mom's house is prone to flooding. As we know, I live over there in Brightmoor and not too far from the Rouge River. As a matter of fact, if I hop my mom's back fence, I will be in the Rouge River. So her basement used to flood constantly. It was a thing that happened very often, and definitely over the past decade, even more frequently. And so addressing some of those drains, addressing some of those inefficiencies and those aging pipes will be a major benefit to a lot of Detroiters, increase the values of their homes, and really be just one less headache. You know, we talk a lot about people moving to Detroit. That is a headache that a lot of Detroiters suffer from that a lot of people don't think about. And so I'm very happy to see this. And hopefully, you know, my mom can get some of that money in her neighborhood and help fix her basement up. It's a big deal. It happens to a lot of folks. I've had not just my mom, but my aunt, a couple cousins. All of them have suffered from the basement flooding issue, and it is something that desperately needs to be addressed. So I'm happy that it's happening.
I like it because it is acknowledging where we're actually at. And I know it takes money to do some of that, but I am pro-growth. I would like to see more people in the city and all that other stuff. But I'm also very realistic. 1.8 million is not happening. And I think this dovetails really well with our next story, that there are announcement of 2 more solar neighborhoods. Now, this is a plan where the city is using vacant land to put up solar panels to then power the 127 city municipal buildings. So the idea being is you use solar power to help offset,
to ease the grid,
but also ease the bill with DTE, which then frees up money to do other things.
Yeah.
And these are in neighborhoods where the administration says there's 100% resident buy-in. And these 2 neighborhoods that are added are Houston, Whittier, Hayes, and Greenfield Park. So Houston, Whittier is near East Side. My aunt's family is over there in Houston, Whittier. And then Greenfield Park was what, John R. and 6?
John R. and 6 over there in between John R. and 75.
I mean, this is something that I think is innovative. I know that some people don't like it. I personally think, again, that ties back to that idea that we're not going to be 1.8 million people again. And even if we were 1.8 million people, the housing would look different. All of that. Let's use the land for productive purposes.
Absolutely.
And not be vacant.
Flat out. It's one of those things where it's like, oh, I don't like this move. What do you want? What do you want to do with that land? Because we're not building housing on it. And the people who owned it aren't building housing on it. So what do you want that land to be used for, right? If we're not using it for urban garden and supplying people with food, we need to supply the people with power. And so that's something that I think is fantastic. Not only is this renewable energy, as you said, and one of the critical elements of this reduces the city's bill and dependency on DTE. And that is going to free up potentially millions of dollars for the city to be able to do other things that you want in your neighborhood, like help fix the streets and help clear up blight and help, do all the things that will beautify and make your neighborhood more sustainable. These are all good things. And the last thing I want to say is 100% resident buy-in. That lets you know where residents of the city are. Okay. People want this. Detroiters want this. So I could care less about your opinion.
Which leads me to a resolution that I have, Norris Howard.
Oh, you make New Year's resolutions?
Not really, but looking back at 2024 and looking ahead to 2025 and seeing everything, like the social media reaction to some of these stories. I love a good discussion. I love a good thought of facts, and let's think about what's best for the city. And if you don't agree with us, that's great. Send us a note or come on the show. We've had that happen.
Yeah, I challenge you.
But what I'm done with is being the jackass whisperer. I am done being like the stuff where it's like, oh, the solar panels are going to poison you, or they're all going to be stolen and destroyed, or all these other things that I have heard for 20 damn years, one way or another. And it just turns up. Yeah, let's have differing ideas, but I'm tired. And maybe it's something where I just need to be done with social media or cut way back. But I'm done with being the jackass whisperer. It's not my job. It's not your job. It's not anybody's job. The way we're going to have better discourse is we literally actively work to have better discourse and not put it in the hands of morons.
Or platforms that are going to incentivize morons speaking louder than everyone else. I think the thing for us is that when we're talking specifically about the city of Detroit, one thing that we've seen over the past 10, I'll say even 15 years, is that there's a lot of people with the energy that they want to move the change forward in the city. And those people are participating in discord that allows people to have ideas, allows people to bring what they feel to the fore. But if all you here to do is be like negative and not really talk about good things that are happening in the city, like these couple stories here, which, by the way, I want to emphasize are, local government working together with residents, and then the federal government working with local government. Like, this has nothing to do with Dan Gilbert or the billionaires or nothing like that. These are the types of things that people want their government to be doing. For me, when I look at people who are just instantly negative about stories like this, my question is, like I said earlier, what do you want the city to do? What do you want done?
It's not enough to just say no.
Yeah, it's not enough. You got to put something to replace that. We say that all the time. We talk about, they're talking about getting rid of Social Security. Well, what you going to put there? Because if you take it away, now you've just thrown millions of seniors into poverty instantly. So what is your plan in order to replace that? Well, there is no plan. And if you just nope everything, then there is no progress. And so I implore everybody who listens to this show, whether you agree or disagree, and I know a lot of people disagree with me on the Motown thing, and that's okay, because I welcome that. I want us to have a discussion about what the identity of this city is moving forward.
All right, let's end on the news that Metro Detroit is getting another major golf tournament. Live Golf announced that their season-ending team championship will be held at the Cardinal at St. John's Resort in Plymouth Township this August. The Saudi-backed Tours event will take place August 22nd through 24th, featuring top players like Phil Mickelson. The tournament will bring Live Golf's signature golf but louder atmosphere to the recently opened Cardinal course, which is the first new golf course in Southeast Michigan in more than 20 years. That's according to press materials. The event begins 3 months after the PGA Tour's Rocket Mortgage Classic at the Detroit Golf Club. St. John's Resort COO Kevin Doyle says to the press that hosting the championship marks a defining moment for the facility, which underwent a $50 million redevelopment after being purchased by the Pulte family back in 2021. The resort now operates under a humanitarian hotels model owned by the Pulte Family Charitable Foundation, with profits supporting charitable initiatives in Metro Detroit.
Sure, new sports thing. I guess that's cool. You know what? I'll say this. For those in the west suburbs, something to get excited about, something to do.
I got multiple emails from people in like Northville and places like that. Like,
something to do.
Please cover this.
Yeah, something to do. If you're in Plymouth, Canton, Northville, Novi, like this is going to be exciting for you. And that's all cool. Obviously, I don't want to say obviously, but I have my feelings on Live, my personal feelings about their ownership, about their model, how they even entered the golf space to begin with. That's for another show at another time. Right now, it's something that I think is going to be interesting, which, by the way, we haven't heard much about the potential Top Golf that's supposed to go out there in Canton. We haven't heard much about a groundbreaking.
Hasn't Top Golf kind of gotten a little bit of like hit a little bit of a speed bump?
That's what I think in general, because they were very bullish on expansion in Southeast Michigan in terms of putting another one somewhere in the west suburbs. I believe it was Canton off Ford Road, but you haven't heard much about that. So if you're a golf fan, this is going to be the thing for you, I suppose.
I did a quick little look-see that there are some serious traffic concerns in Canton that are delaying the Topgolf, the Portillo's project, and the Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, because it's one street. Canton has one street.
Ford Road and 270. Well, that's at the
Ford Road.
Ford Road and 275.
275 is a highway, so they have one street. It's somebody who used to live in Canton. There's one street. It's Ford Road. That's it. There's nothing else there, and there will be major traffic concerns because there's no outlet roads, and that's what happens when you build suburbs for people to get in and never get out.
We didn't talk about this when it happened. I want to ask you real quick before we go about Wayne County opting all in for transit.
Yeah, this is another one of those things because, again, all of these suburbs built, the cul-de-sacs, all this kind of stuff is built for folks to stay within those suburbs, stay within those exurbs. This is why so much stuff is kind of, I think, having a reverse effect and going back to the city because the infrastructure to make stuff happen and to make, pardon my French, to make cool happen is just easier to do in the city in terms of logistically. As you see, without public transit, without people being able to get out there, without having to contribute to more traffic, it's going to be an issue. And so now Canton potentially may not get, the Chick-fil-A, may not get the Topgolf, may not get certain stuff because of the way the city itself was planned. I think that's just the breaks.
I feel like there's going to be a way they figure it out. Of
course they'll figure it out, but it's going to be a lot longer to figure it out. And in that meantime, stuff down here in the city is happening. And I'm not trying to make it a city versus suburbs argument. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that there are some downsides to living in the suburbs that not just the city of Detroit, but any city just kind of doesn't have to worry that much about because, hey, there's 1,000 ways to get downtown and there's 1,000 ways to get to other places in the city, and there is one street in Canton.
Well, I'll say this. We do not know where Norris Howard stands.
No, never. I'm always let it be known. And listen, I lived out there, so I can speak on it. I ain't gonna speak on other suburbs, but I'll speak on Canton. Get another street.
One more street. One more.
Just one more.
All right. Well, with that, I am Jer Stays. Thank you so much for listening to your Daily Detroit. Thank you to our members, patreon.com/Daily Detroit. If you've got feedback, dailydetroit@gmail.com. Send me a note, record a voice memo and send it. Maybe we'll play it on the show. It'll be great to have. Until tomorrow, remember that you are somebody, and we'll see you around Detroit.